still a Muji vibe. So if you've ever wanted something that's classic, that doesn't have a logo, and if you want to tell the whole world that you are a minimalist simp, Muji is the way to go. Hey there, my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobras and videos of here and you. My name is Mignon Cobra and I make minimalism videos. So today's minimalism video is going to be my favorite minimalist brands. And I wanted to share this with you guys because I recently had a subscriber tell me that having a closet full of brandless clothing is actually a sign that you've made it, and it's actually only for the well-to-do. And I thought that was really interesting because I had the opposite idea. I thought that having branded clothes meant that you finally made it. So for me, having branded clothes means I feel like, oh, I finally made it. But I did want to share some affordable brands or brands that I think are minimalistic and can be a part of your wardrobe. Some of them have logos, some of them do not. Take that as you will. I am not a dogmatic minimalist. I don't approve of rigid rules. Minimalism is the same as parlay. It's just a guideline. So without further ado, let's just get into the video. Let's get it. Let's go. Woo. Number one, my top and favorite, a true minimalism brand, and that is Muji. Muji is a little bit on the pricier side unless you live in Japan. And if you've ever been to Japan, you guys know that Muji is like dirt cheap. Muji is like dollar store pricing for like Muji clothing. So Muji is very expensive outside of Japan. I have bought Muji in Korea, in China, Canada, and Muji is a very expensive markup. But when I was in Japan, oh my gosh, like shirts were like $12 like Canadian, and I was like, what is going on? That's insane. Yeah, the reason that I put Muji up there, when I first became a minimalist, the epitome of a brandless brand was Muji. Like literally the name translates to like Wu Pai, in like which that's the Chinese name of it, but the characters literally mean like literally is no brand. It's like the nameless that we have for food, but for clothes. It's literally called brandless. That's the translation of the name. So they don't put any branding on it. You can recognize the Muji aesthetic though, like the style. If you've ever been to Muji, it's always the same generic aesthetic. Like Muji style has not changed since I first discovered Muji back in like 2010. It's been like a solid 10 years and it's still a Muji vibe. So if you've ever wanted something that's classic, that doesn't have a logo, and if you're outside of Japan and you don't mind spending the money, I think that Muji it's right there. If you want to tell the whole world that you are a minimalist simp, Muji is the way to go. Okay, number two, coming in at the cheaper version of Muji is Uniqlo. I'd say 85 to 90% of my closet is primarily Uniqlo. So Uniqlo is actually extremely cheap in Asia just because it's an import close to Japan. When I lived in China, I bought everything at Uniqlo just because the quality is amazing and the pricing is really good. They have some sweet, aggressive sales in China. Like I would get stuff for like $5, $10 Canadian. That was like Muji quality. Muji is actually kind of pricier here in Canada. So I have actually not bought much Uniqlo pieces here, just because, yeah, like unless I get it on sale, and also because I actually already have a lot of pieces. As you guys seen in my closet tour, I think I have 7 dress shirts in all the different colors from Uniqlo. I just don't need any more pieces, thank God. I got my full fill of shopping in China. But yes, I highly recommend Uniqlo. I think Uniqlo is the cheaper, more casual version of Muji. It still also is kind of brandless. Like, I mean, I know they have that tinier logo, but the quality is really good and it doesn't have a bunch of screaming brand on it. You can kind of also recognize it by its aesthetic. It tends to have like the little ribbing for the jackets, a very muted, simple kind of aesthetic with the clothing. I think that Uniqlo is quite minimalistic. You don't have to agree with me though. You are definitely free to disagree. And if you disagree, leave a comment down below if you think that Uniqlo is or is not a minimalist brand. I think to me, it really encapsulates it. And to the best of my ability, I try to buy Uniqlo. Obviously not here in Canada because I think that stuff's way overpriced. Or maybe you think Uniqlo is actually really cheap. I don't know. I think honestly, sometimes these things are perspective. I got it for cheaper in Asia, so coming to Canada, I'm just like, yeah, I know, I'm not spending $25 on that. Speaking of expensive, the next brand that I think is actually pretty minimalistic is Aritzia. Aritzia, for the most part, does not have a lot of branding splashed all over it. It does have a very tiny, subtle logo, either like on the sleeve or on the back of the jacket or on like the back part of the pants. It's also pretty iconic in how it in itself looks. You tend to be able to kind of recognize Aritzia on the street, especially their leggings, which is also in competition with Lululemon. I'm not the biggest fan of Lululemon. I do have a pair of Lulus. I have one pair of Lulus that have lasted me, I think, almost 5 years and they're still going strong. I don't know if that's a very good business model on their part, making, lifelong pieces that never wear out. I've like never gone back to shop because I don't need to. But yeah, I definitely think Lulu and Aritzia, they are really good, solid quality pieces. I actually think more so Aritzia. I still have my Aritzia pieces from high school. I know that that's probably not what some minimalists want to hear. Like, ew.
You still have like stuff from when you were in high school?
I do. The quality is really good. And I actually still think the quality is as good as it was when I was a kid. So I still stan Aritzia. I know that like I'm an adult and I probably shouldn't be shopping at Aritzia, but like I don't care. And honestly, Aritzia has a very big brand. Just a brand, like it's like a brand that kind of grows with you, sort of. Like if you're okay with the price, and I will justify the price in a sec. Aritzia has levels. They have like a junior level, which is like the regular, like the TNA, like the more sporty vibe. Then they have the regular Aritzia. Then they also have like the Wilfred, and then they have the Babaton line. So it's more like you're working now. You're a working queen, and it is a little bit more expensive, but you have the budget to play with that. So the reason that I think that you can justify Aritzia pieces is Aritzia is not pieces that you should be buying a lot of. Honestly, as a minimalist, you really shouldn't be buying a lot of these things either. I really do stand the mantra that less is more. I think that if you go to Aritzia, you should already know your size, you should know your colorway, you should know yourself very well so that you're buying very classic and timeless pieces that suit you. And that's how Aritzia should be used. And then that price is justifiable. And you can actually get a lot of these pieces on sale. Most pieces that I bought from Aritzia, I have bought on sale. Like I'll swing by the shop, I already know what I want and I eye it, and I'll keep waiting until the price is good and then I'll cop it. I'm also pretty blessed in that I don't necessarily need a particular size. Either I buy oversized, so large or medium, and I'm on the petiter side, so extra small. It doesn't really bother me. So if you're okay with that, I think that you can get a lot of very minimalistic and timeless pieces from Aritzia, and the quality will last. The pieces are still really well made, even in this day and age where a lot of fast fashion, the pieces just don't last. I still find that is not the case for Aritzia. They double stitch a lot of their products, which is not something you're gonna find at Walmart. Like I love me a Walmart piece and they are a good dupe, but they're no Aritzia. I still recommend and think that if you can afford to buy better, I do think it's worth the investment if you do know how to take care of your pieces. Okay, the next minimalistic brand, and this is in the category of makeup, and I think that is Merit. I think that Merit has done a fantastic job with this whole minimalism branding of makeup, this clean beauty, vegan type of vibe. I would have loved that when I first started my minimalism journey. When I started my minimalism journey 8 years ago, such a thing was really hard to find. The only brand at the time that kind of fit that criterion was Elf, but Elf was extremely difficult for me to get, especially because I was living in Asia at the time. I really like what Merit's got going on. They have that like kind of like exclusive luxury kind of feeling without being inaccessible, if that makes any sense. Of course, I may have a biased take. I have been sent their stuff for free, so take this as you will. I'm not in any affiliate program with them. I'm just saying, like, I think the products are really good. I'm really grateful that they sent it to me. Some of my favorite pieces have actually turned out to be some of the more classic stuff. I like that they don't have a long, big list that's overwhelming. The pomade is bomb. That's currently what I'm using on my brows. The mascara is amazing. It's really good. It's even better than my YSL, but like it's pretty much done. So I just have it because like I want to show you guys in videos. And their oil, I wasn't a fan when I first got it. I didn't like it, I'll be honest, but it's kind of grown on me. It has like a very muted color that looks good when done with. It looks really pretty on camera. It's not really good for everyday life. It does smear everywhere, but if you are the type of person who does a lot of like filming or taking pictures, it creates a very beautiful gloss with a lovely tint. Okay, and the next minimalistic brand that I really like is Champion. And I put this one last because this is a personal preference of mine. So let me explain why Champion, because you're probably thinking,
that's branded. Why would that be minimalistic? Okay.
As a minimalist, for me personally, I think quality matters more so than having a brand or not. I don't care if it has a brand.
I don't like to be woke
and think myself better than somebody else because my brand, like my clothes don't have a brand. Like, oh my gosh, like I'm such a good minimalist. I don't approve of that. At least that's not how I use my minimalism. What matters more to me is the quality of the brand good? Like, does this feel good? Like, who cares if it has a bunch of branding on it or doesn't have a bunch of branding on it, but the quality sucks? Like, that to me makes like absolutely no sense. It's more important that the quality is really good. And Champion actually has really, really good quality. And I've actually seen moments, and there's one time I was at Aritzia and I saw a sweater. I was like, isn't that the Champion sweater? It was the exact same. It had like ribbing here on the side. It was the exact same shirt, guys. Just the tag was different. One's at Aritzia, and then the one that I have at home is a Champion. Some of these are made in the same factory. So if you don't feel like paying like the Aritzia price tag of $80 for a sweater, Champion is $40, sometimes on sale for $30 or $20, and it's like made in the exact same factory with the same styles. I mean, yes, granted, you have to deal with the little logo on the side. I personally like that. I actually really like that because I have lived the majority of my minimalism journey with no branding. So for me, it felt like a status symbol to have the little Champion, because actually, if you didn't know, Champion is actually really expensive in China. So for me, buying Champion gave me that bougie feeling. So coming back to Canada where it's actually really cheap, I was like, yo, like, let's go ham. I had the same phenomenon happen to me with Maybelline. Maybelline is really cheap here in Canada. I don't even know, $5 like a mascara. Like, you would not think Maybelline is expensive. I remember when I went to China, Maybelline was like $30-40 for like a mascara because it was considered like an import product, and it just shocked the hell out of me. Like, I remember people buy Maybelline as like a status symbol in China, and I was like, what? That's another thing that's kind of also helped me realize that branding doesn't really matter. If you have branding, you don't have branding, we've all just made it up in our heads. Like, none of it really has any real true meaning and value. It's the value that you ascribe to it, that the company ascribes to it, and if you accept it and you're willing to pay that, that's really all that it means. So anyway, coming back to this point about Champion, I do like the little brand here on like the cuff of the sleeve. It just brings joy to my heart to know that I got what normally costs $100 for like $25. Like, it makes me really happy. And there's actually, the quality is really good, and a lot of them, they do sell the variants where it's like the logo is literally only on the sleeve, or maybe just like here on the chest. And I have long hair, so it gets covered anyway. I would obviously never buy the ones where it's like super splashy with a bunch of colors and a lot of branding, but I mean, like, Uniqlo also has weird prints too. You don't see me buying those, so like, let's let good taste prevail here. So comment down below if you agree or disagree with any of these points. I actually like to hear what you guys have to say, whether you agree or disagree with me, because that's how we like grow and learn. It's fun to me to hear other people's different opinions. So yeah, leave that down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.